Okay, we're live.
Nice.
Welcome to the ALLGROUND Pod. Ding, 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 ding.
So exciting. Where's the rap?
Welcome to the ALLGROUND Pod.
I'm not participating in this.
Ty's got a rockin' bod. Or doesn't he? Or does he not?
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows? Hey, guess Ty's figure. Is he athletic? Is he fat? Is he fatletic?
Fatletic. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you like that?
I don't know. I just feel like it allows people that don't normally have classically athletic bodies to feel good about themselves.
Yeah. I'm fatletic. Okay.
Like kind of a Charles Barkley, really. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of fatletic.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so I know Charles Barkley, but I always think of Gnarls Barkley, which is, I think it was an album or something by CeeLo Green.
Okay.
And so I instantly think of that album. I don't know why every time someone mentions it's Charles Barkley, which doesn't happen often because I don't really watch basketball.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a loser.
Well, like Sports Center. I mean, he was one of the hosts of Sports Center, right? For a long time.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyways, let's move along.
Yeah, let's move along. Okay. So it's been a minute. I guess we could kind of touch base on, what's been going on. Temp Ty and myself were out of the country for Temp Ty was out for a month, and that was rough.
It's a long time.
Yeah, not good, man. I was starting to have withdrawals from really bad dad jokes. I was like, Ruby, can you please just tell me a bad dad joke? And can you do it in Temp Ty's voice?
Yeah. She's like, I don't think I can.
Yeah. I'm like, no, God.
It just isn't the same.
I know. And how was your daughter doing, with your dad jokes in Thailand, which is funny. Ty was in Thailand.
Yeah. I actually went to the homeland.
Yeah.
2 weeks in Thailand, then 2 weeks in Japan. Thailand was the whole family.
Yeah.
And then Japan was just me and my daughter. And she was my captive audience. And, honestly, I don't think she really liked my dad jokes very much. A lot of contempt. A lot of...
I could see that.
Yeah. Just looking at me like I'm the biggest idiot on the face of the earth on a regular basis.
Did anyone mention your name in Thailand where they're like, oh, Ty, that's so funny.
Yeah, you're here regularly.
This is my land.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
No.
Okay.
But we did go see a one championship fight, which was really cool.
I actually, Reed mentioned that, and I forgot to ask you about it. Was it awesome?
It was. The downside is that we went when we were all massively jet lagged. Okay. But it was the night it was happening. So we were like, we had been there for a day.
Yeah.
We went and it was cool. There were, I think, 3 MMA matches and then 1 kickboxing match. And then the rest were all Muay Thai.
Cool.
And it was super fun. It was actually a relatively small stadium. And so like we were in the quote unquote nosebleeds, but we weren't very far away. So it was really entertaining, but we were all like I think there was 3 more Muay Thai fights to come, and we were all falling asleep. We were like, we got to go. We can't keep our eyes open. We're dying here. So it was kind of a bummer. My father-in-law was super bummed because he's from Laos, and he loves kickboxing. So he loves Muay Thai, and he was the one that's like, why are we leaving? I don't want to leave. And like, we thought we were dragging him there, but he's like, no, this is where I want to go. So he was super psyched about it.
That's awesome. I'm just imagining like the whole like arena is like freaking out at these fights, and people are looking at you, and you guys are all just mouths open, asleep in your chairs. Like, man.
No, it was more like dodging bullets. We'd be like awake, and then
oh god,
awake. No, but it was really fun. It was like that's the first outside of boxing. I've been to a couple boxing bouts, but
you never been to a UFC fight though.
No, never have.
I was gonna ask how it compares, but that's okay. I went to a UFC fight once, which is funny, just watching it and being a part of MMA my whole life.
Mm.
And it was cool. It was actually John Jones versus Cyril Gahn. Mm-hmm. So that was a big deal.
Well, I think I know who won that one.
Yeah.
It's easy, you're like, who won that? Well, let's see. John Jones was undefeated. So,
Gotta be him.
Yeah. I'm guessing.
Okay, so you were in Thailand. That was awesome. And then you went to Japan for another like 13 days or something.
Yeah, 13, 14 days, like 13 and a half.
That's crazy.
It was a long time.
So when you were about to leave to Japan, were you like, oh God, I'm going to a whole nother country. I kind of just want to be home. Or were you like excited to go to Japan?
Ambivalent,
Okay.
mixed feelings.
Yeah.
I was excited to go to Japan, but I was really getting homesick. I wanted to be home.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I like tried to enjoy it as much as I possibly could, despite the fact that I was missing my wife. I was missing home. And, just a month is a long time to be away.
Dude,
it's too
so long.
It's too long. Even Ava, who has been wanting to go to Japan pretty much her whole life, she's always been into like manga and anime and all that. And so she loves the culture. Even her, when we were leaving for Japan, she was like, man, I don't know. I'm like really tired of being
trip's already planned.
Yeah. So, but it was cool.
That's cool.
There's just too many people for my taste. It is so many people.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. Crazy busy, but crazy orderly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. But way more orderly, and generally people are very polite.
Yeah.
So despite the fact that you're, as my buddy said, when you get in the transit system, it's just nuts to butts everywhere. You're just crushed in there, and you're like, there's no way anybody else can fit on this train. And then they'll stop, and like 10 or 15 more people will get on. And you're like, I don't know how they did it. It's amazing. That's insane. Yeah. I mean, people are practically climbing on each other, but they do it. They get along. So
yeah, and everyone's really quiet too on the trains, and
it's not like the BART.
Very, very polite. Yeah.
On the BART, people are like dragging boom boxes around and just like blasting music. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's different. Well, Ruby and I were in England. We took the tube.
Nice.
A few different places, but that was really cool. I've never been to England before. I've never even been to Europe. I've been to Asia.
Yeah.
But that was awesome, man. Really cool. Did some jiu-jitsu out there, some training, and just got to view the British countryside life. And that was really fun. That was really cool. I mean, we stayed at her grandma's house for a few days, and in her little village, and village life is really cool. Everything's obviously so old.
Did you milk a goat or anything?
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome. Goat milk, baby.
Right from the teat.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cows over there. And that was cool. Actually, we would walk up to some of the cows. It was a little scary.
Yeah.
I guess, but they're more afraid of you. They're like kind of, oh God. It feels cool when they actually walk up to you.
When we were in Thailand, we got to go to an elephant sanctuary. And that was cool.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid of us at all. The elephants. They were not even remotely afraid of us, but they were really nice. And mostly they just wanted the sugar cane. They're like, just give us the goods, buddy.
Yeah.
That's all they wanted.
Did they kiss you? Did they do the kiss?
I don't know if one actually kissed me, but they like wrap their trunks around you.
Dude, what the heck?
Yeah. You're
like, I got a wife.
I know. I felt dirty.
Wrap your trunks around me?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, come on.
I felt a little weird holding another creature's really, really long appendage.
Yeah.
Long muscular appendage.
Yeah. Even though that's not, that's not new for you.
No, I mean,
you do jujitsu. So
yeah. And my previous career, let's just say it was in film. But let's just stop there.
Yeah. Well, even still, that's not as gay as jujitsu.
No. Yeah. Nothing is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's usually the selling point,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I think that like a good jiu-jitsu pride shirt would sell quite well.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, I think it was Craig Jones that came up with those shirts that said "Keep Jiu-Jitsu Gay" or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that sells really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a lot of people wear it. It's really funny.
People wear it with pride.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Craig Jones, we're going out to the CJI or to CJ Invitational, Craig Jones Invitational.
CJ.
CJ.
Okay.
CJI.
CJI. Okay. Yeah, I guess
the running joke is everybody says CGI.
Yeah, I probably should be able to spell
Jones
for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty easy name to remember.
Yeah. I can't tell you the number of times I've, been signing in at an office or something, and I'll say, my name's Ty Jones, and they're like, okay, how do you spell Ty? I'm like, Ty. And they're like, how do you spell Jones? And I'm like, really? Are you kidding me right now? You don't know how to spell Jones? I think the first name just throws them off,
Yeah.
They're already off their game.
They're like, what?
And then they don't know.
2-letter name. This guy can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going out to Vegas, and then we have a student of ours, Chunkalicious, badass individual, getting ready for Masters Worlds. I think he's doing Masters 5 or something. Chunk's in his 60s and just an absolute savage, as you know. Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Watching IBJJF Masters. I believe in Chunks with all my heart. I think he's going to do incredible. And then go have fun with the homies, with the teammates, and go watch some fun jiu-jitsu.
So nobody else competing though at Jiu Jitsu Con, or
no?
Everybody that was kind of considering it has kind of decided not to.
Yeah, I think Parker was somewhat considering it, but so we, as you know, we just got our IBJJF certification for the academy. So I'm excited to get people out there competing, but you know, it's going to be a busy weekend already. I think having the focus around Chunks will be great. If we were bringing out like a whole team, it'd be one thing, but just focusing on Chunks will be awesome. Yeah, I believe he'll take home the world title, the first IBJJF world title for All Ground, which would be really cool.
Be really awesome.
And then, yeah, and there's a lot of other IBJJF competitions coming up. We got one in October. I really want Parker and a couple other guys to compete in that. I just keep saying Parker because he's always telling me he wants to compete.
Yeah,
so he's like, he's at the forefront of my mind. He's like,
well, plus you got a tattoo, so
yeah, that's right. Okay. For those who don't know Parker, so we had our summer challenge, and our summer challenge is a bingo card. Basically, we have to fill out. You have to get stamped from the coaches saying that you completed this challenge. And so there's a bunch of challenges on the front, and on the back side is a bunch of classes that you have to take.
Like attend this class, attend that class, but then like jiu-jitsu at the park and just random challenges.
Jiu-jitsu wearing oven mitts and goggles.
Yeah. Did anybody do that?
Yeah.
Who did it?
Javen, Parker, I think Rain, a couple others did it.
Nice.
Javen actually won it. He won. He won the summer challenge. He was first place, or first to finish it. And then there was an instant win on there, and the instant win was get an all ground tattoo. So you didn't even have to do all the challenges. You could choose to do the instant win.
Yeah.
But funny enough, Parker was like, I'm getting the all ground tattoo, and it looks awesome. Actually, another member here, Sav, she tattooed it on him. It looks super cool. It's like an all ground frog, and then it has all ground jiu-jitsu beneath it.
Nice.
The frog's got on a gi with the all ground logo. It's like the ideal tattoo that you would want someone to get for a challenge. Like it wasn't like a cop out, if you will.
The only thing I have one criticism.
Okay.
You got a frog, which is green, that's great.
Yeah.
But why not an artichoke?
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not going to look bad. It's going to look good. I'm sure Sav did a great job because she's very artistic, but artichoke, man.
Artichoke.
Arthur Choke should have been on there.
Arthur Choke. Yeah. That's a little Easter egg that you're dropping, actually. So for those listening, Arthur Choke, just remember that name. Remember that name.
Yeah.
Arthur Choke, the artichoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Team mascot, really.
Artichoke. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah, we got some cool plans for that. All right, enough small talk, man.
Yeah.
Enough small talk. People are done with the small talk. They're like, we don't give a shit about your lives.
You people mean nothing to me.
Yeah, get on with it. I'm about to watch something else.
Yeah. Actually, I think we've lost half of our 4 viewers right at this point. They're already gone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Blake, I know you're still hanging tough. Thank you, brother.
Ruby, thanks, baby. Really appreciate you.
I feel like if somebody's engaged to you, they have to listen to your podcast.
Actually, we know that Blake is listening to this at 3 times speed. So let's talk really fast and see how fast that sounds. Hey, Blake, how fast is this? How fast is this, Blake?
The micro machine guy.
He's like, wait, what did they say? What did they say? Oh, I got to go back. 3 seconds. It's too hard to talk that fast.
It is. I think that if you had a career in being an auctioneer, you'd really have a shot at it.
Yeah.
To continually talk that fast, it'd be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Gosh, that is hard.
I think it's ironic that for people that are trying to do public speaking, the number one rule is to talk slower.
Yeah.
And take breaks.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's a lot easier to get rid of the filler words like or
yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk really fast and see if we can just keep out the filler words. It's really hard.
Yeah. All right, Blake, listen to that.
Yeah. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck, buddy. What are you going to do now? Okay. So taking a turn and trying to draw, some concepts that we've been talking about back to jiu-jitsu. This morning you mentioned to me a podcast you had recently listened to about dopamine and oxytocin.
Yep.
And another thing is you said, the way that it was talked about in this podcast, it was just distilled in a way that was more understandable or easier to retain. And I think that is awesome. We're absorbing so many things, and hopefully most of us are trying to learn and trying to get better at something and understand more about ourselves. But sometimes it does take the same thing being said a million times.
Oh, totally.
But it's that one time where it clicks.
It's just like jujitsu. You'll tell me the same thing over and over, and then it'll click, and you're like, oh yeah, you finally have it. You finally get that concept that I've been like hammering into your head for the last 6 months. And that's how we learn. We don't usually pick up things on the first pass, not completely.
Yeah. And I think it's on the coach too, to not always describe things in the same way and see how creative you can get with describing the moves, teaching the moves, and presenting different concepts, different ways for your students to understand, so that they can have those clicking moments. Because I appreciate those more than anything. There's a lot of things I've been told my whole life, and sometimes they just need to be said in a certain way for them to really click and then stick.
Yeah,
it's clicking and sticking. That's the important part. So we're talking about dopamine right now. And maybe, for the viewers, you could just kind of summarize what this podcast talked about in terms of dopamine and what exactly it is.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about how we can correlate that with jiu-jitsu, or relate it to jiu-jitsu rather.
Well, okay, so as a disclaimer, I'm not a biochemist.
No. But you did listen to a podcast.
Exactly what dopamine is. Well, I do have a biology degree and a chemistry minor, so I have learned a lot about this through the years, and I've read a lot of books about dopamine. I just particularly liked this podcast because the neuroscientist that talked about dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, he summarized its use in our brain and its purpose, its intended purpose through evolution, in the most succinct way that maybe I've ever heard, which I really, really appreciated. I thought he did a fantastic job. And so I'll summarize real quick. Most of us have heard of dopamine. We learn about, like, if we have sugar or we scroll on our phone or we watch Netflix, we get a dopamine hit. But what does all that mean? So dopamine is a neurotransmitter that historically, the purpose of dopamine has been to provide us with motivation. So if, let's say, you woke up tomorrow and you had no dopamine, you probably wouldn't have the motivation to get out of bed. Without dopamine, you'll be very depressed. You'll be listless. You'll have apathy. People that have been heavily addicted to drugs take dopamine blockers. And when they do, they lose their addiction to the drug, but then they have no motivation to do anything else. They can't get out of bed in the morning. It's really, really a horrible way to live. So dopamine is a very important neurotransmitter, and it is what we need in order to be motivated to do difficult things. So the way he described it is, when you take on a difficult task, let's say run a 5K, do a comp class on Wednesday night, sit down to write a term paper, do the research, do your physics homework, something that's difficult, anything that's going to be tough for you, either psychologically or physically, or a combination of the two, your body will be stimulated to start producing dopamine. So difficult tasks cause your body to produce dopamine. Now, along the way, as you do that task, your body will release a little bit of the dopamine to your reward center of your brain, so that you feel like a reinforcement. This is worth doing. I'm getting things done. I feel good about this. So it's the production of the dopamine through the hard work, and then the slow trickle of dopamine into the reward center that keeps you motivated to keep going and get the hard things done. Right? So that's how things have historically worked in humans' brains. But because of the advent of technology and the readily available treats and foods that we eat, we have short-circuited that whole process. So what we do now is, instead of doing the hard work and producing dopamine, we jump right to the reward. So let's say we get on our phone and we start scrolling.
Yeah.
We will start to release dopamine to the reward center, but we don't produce dopamine. So we're not producing it because we're not doing anything difficult, but we're consuming it. So what happens is we just deplete our dopamine stores in our brain, and now we have no dopamine. And so at some point during your scrolling, you realize you're not having fun anymore. There's no reward at all.
Yeah.
And so then you stop scrolling and you feel like throwing your phone through the wall because you're like, why did I waste my time doing this? Right. And everybody has that letdown. And then you feel this malaise, like this depression and sometimes anxiety. And you're like, oh man. And then you're not motivated to do anything. And why? Because you burned up all your dopamine and you didn't produce any dopamine.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem in our society right now, because we are not doing difficult things to produce dopamine, but we are consuming dopamine faster than we're making it.
Yeah.
And that's generally the dopamine cycle problem. We're not using the dopamine in our brains the correct way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when, people come to Jiu Jitsu and, they step onto the mats and immediately they start warming up, are they then producing dopamine right away?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you start to do something, as soon as that heart rate starts to elevate and your brain registers, I'm doing something that's going to be a physical challenge. And even during drilling, where it may not be as physical, but it is, psychologically, like it's difficult for you to maybe absorb the concepts and get the coordination down. Mm-hmm. I always laugh when I think about like some of the classes I've been in when one of us, me included, may be struggling with a movement, and I'm just looking at you and you're just like shaking your head. You're just like, no, that is not it, bro. But during that time,
my dopamine comes.
Exactly. No, I don't know what you get during that.
Yeah. Pity.
Yeah. Contempt.
You
pity.
Feeble.
You fool.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think it's even in the process of like going to the gym and knowing that you're about to do something hard, working out, that your body is producing? And I want to understand more about the trickle effect. So your body's producing the dopamine, but then there's this trickle effect that is reinforcing you to keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. So you know how they say there's all these like tricks that you can use to get yourself to do something difficult.
Yeah, like just start it for 2 minutes or something.
Make a deal with yourself. I'm only going to do 2 or 3 minutes. And then if I don't want to do it anymore, I'll stop. Right. Yeah. And 99% of the time, if you'll do 2 or 3 minutes, you'll keep going.
Yeah.
Why? Because during that 2 minutes, you produce some dopamine and you got a little bit of it to your reward center. And all at once, you're like, now the pump is primed. Now you're going and you're willing to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. Now, at some point, if you reach total physical exhaustion or something, then it doesn't matter how much dopamine you have. You're like, I'm done. I'm just not doing it anymore. I'm dying here.
Yeah.
But that is a cyclic effect. That feedback system is what keeps you sticking with hard things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to think about in terms of leveraging that, because I think about when you get tired in a match, are there almost ways in which you could trick yourself to make it like something that's fun, and then your body starts producing more dopamine or something? I'm thinking there are some times during a workout where it's really hard. Like it's really hard and I feel like quitting, and then it feels like I'm accessing something where I almost get mad, but I'm not really getting mad. I'm just getting more motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I have this whole other, system ready to rock, ready to fire.
Right.
And I feel stronger and faster.
Yeah.
When like I was getting really tired, and now I'm like, oh, I'm faster and stronger. And then inevitably I'll crash.
Sure.
But
I suspect that has a lot to do with the dopamine cycle.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with how you are perceiving your performance. So one of the examples I've always used with athletics is people tend to not have a hard time with pain as much as they don't like to feel like they're not doing well. So my analogy is always, let's say you're running a 5K, you entered like the turkey trot and you're running and you feel like you're going to puke. You're pushing it to the very limit. If you're in first place, you're still not sad about that, right? You're like, I am winning. I am not going to stop, right?
Yeah.
Like you're willing to push through it. But if you're in last place and you feel like that and you feel like you're doing really, really poorly, then it's really easy to quit, right? And so your perspective on your performance and how you frame that in your brain, I think makes a big difference. And so if you were in a match and you were really, really struggling and you feel like you were getting your ass kicked, then you probably would be more apt to quit. But if you framed it in your mind as, I've made it this far and that guy's probably hurting just as bad as I am, I could win this.
Yeah.
Then all at once you get that like boost, and that may cause the release of a little bit of dopamine to get you going.
Yeah. That optimistic mentality.
I think so.
Can trigger more, stronger dopamine response. Maybe.
And again, this is all like, I don't know for sure, but I think that may be the case.
Yeah,
I mean, we've observed these phenomenon. And so
exactly,
I think it could be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To the point of it not being, I'm wondering if someone is in here and they feel confused, it's almost like that dopamine, they're not receiving that dopamine response. Because I'm wondering, again, I'm wondering how to implement it, not only into my lifestyle, but as a coach, you know, as an academy owner, how can I trigger that dopamine response?
Again, I think it's how people frame stuff, right? Yeah. So if I'm in a class and I'm confused and I look over and you're shaking your head and I'm like, shoot, I'm not doing well, right? And so I might be discouraged by that. But if you reinforce and say, look, everybody struggles with these movements. Yeah. That's normal. That's a normal part of the process. But you'll never get as good as you want to be unless you're willing to go through the process. So trust the process.
Yeah.
The harder it is for you, the more you're learning. And if people frame it that way in their minds, I feel like they can be more motivated. They can probably release more dopamine to the reward centers and just kind of keep that, you know, it's like spinning a basketball on your finger. Like you got to flick the ball every so often to keep the momentum up so the ball doesn't fall off your finger, right? And it's the same thing. Like flicking the ball causes, analogously is releasing a little bit of dopamine to the reward center. So it keeps the momentum going. Yeah. And then you keep working hard. Therefore you produce more dopamine. And then you flick the ball, you release a little bit, right?
Yeah.
The problem just comes in when people don't work hard and they just do things that create or that just consume dopamine but don't produce it. We just don't want to do those things. Those things are bad for us.
It's funny. I'm thinking dopamine is a responsibility.
It is. It is.
Yeah, you got to be responsible with how you're utilizing it. And scrolling on your phone and doing a bunch of bullshit is not gonna help you. And then it's your responsibility to take care of that dopamine, for lack of better.
But here's the reality: these things are addictive, right? These cell phones, these smartphones are so addictive. And so, if you at least understand the mechanism, if you look up and you realize that you've been scrolling for the last hour and you feel bad and you're like, oh man, I just don't feel good, I shouldn't have done that, and you feel down and you don't feel motivated, just know that in that moment, if you will do something that is maybe a challenge, like do 15 air squats or go run a half mile or read a book or do something that is, stimulating, that you will start to produce dopamine and you will feel better. So there is a way out. Yeah. If you don't understand the mechanism, a lot of times you just kind of get lost in the trees. You don't know what's happening. You're like, why do I feel this way? I don't feel good. I don't know what to do. And then most of us just reach for more reward center type stuff. Yeah. When we don't feel good, we go grab a box of donuts or a Coke or something, or drink alcohol to numb it. So if you realize that is only going to make it worse, it will not make it better, then you can do the right thing. You're not going to live a perfect life. You're going to make mistakes and do things that, pull all the dopamine out of your system and deplete it. And then what do you do then?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a responsibility. Sure.
It is, with great power.
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah. I like to think of our hormones, our neurotransmitters, as it's like if you're on a sailboat, you don't move the sailboat, right? The wind moves the sailboat. But what you do is you move the sails to take advantage of the wind.
Yeah.
Right? It's a two-step process. The first step is to do the thing, and then the wind aka dopamine, will do the rest for you. Right.
Yeah.
But you have to move the sails and orient the ship in the right direction. But you don't actually propel the ship forward, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a level of indirection where you have influence over how you feel, but not direct. It's an indirect influence over how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. What about in your research and your listening? What did they say about task completion? And do we get a huge dopamine hit from that? Is it just something that's a part of the process? Because obviously, if you're doing something hard, you're releasing dopamine. It's trickling into your reward system, as you said. But then when you finish the task, what happens then? What did they speak to? What we're experiencing in that moment? Because I feel like that's one of the most powerful things about jiu-jitsu is we can go our whole day and, maybe we're going to work, but we don't get the work done and we know we got to go do it tomorrow, or we're working on something at home, or, we're trying to finish a chapter of a book and we don't finish it. A lot of things we start but don't finish. And I think it's because we're just, not committed to finishing it. And maybe it's not providing us with that dopamine hit that we really want. But when people come into jiu-jitsu, yeah, they're immediately working out, they're training, they're experiencing that camaraderie. But then there's this ending point, and it's like it's satisfying in a lot of ways.
Oh, totally.
And I think, yeah, you finish it and you're like, oh, I finished something today. I did something right.
Right.
And maybe just realizing that, is that even more dopamine, would you think, if you're like acknowledging that you finished it?
Well, that's where I think a couple things come into play. So they do talk about that in that podcast and other books. Like Dopamine Nation is a great book. I highly recommend it. It is a little shocking, by the way. I will give you the disclaimer that if you read it, it's got some really explicit, weird stuff, because people they go down really deep, dark roads with pornography and that sort of thing. But it's all about studying the mechanisms. But that having been said, yeah, they talk about, let's say you have a lifelong goal and you achieve that goal, and now you're left with no goals. That can be a real problem for people. So you always have to have something that drives you, something that you're interested in. And let's say you hit the lottery, right? Most people work their whole lives just so that they can provide for themselves, provide for their families. And that's a huge goal for them, is to provide on a weekly basis, monthly basis. But you hit the lottery and now you don't have to work anymore. And so that goal has been taken away from you, essentially. That can create a lot of depression for people, because now they don't have anything to work toward. So they talk about just always having goals. Like, I love what you guys said after the very first BJJ tournament that we entered and we won a gold as a team. And then you're like, okay, cool, enough celebrating, let's get back to work. And that is a lesson for life. That's how you should look at things, like, yes, revel for a moment, but then pick new goals. Yeah. Keep moving. But the other aspect of it is the oxytocin, which we can get into.
Yeah. And just to comment on that, that's really layered. That's able to do that well. I want to relish in the goal and in the achievement, maybe a little too long, but yeah, he's really good about just acknowledging it, appreciating it, and then being like, there's more work to be done.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well, and you can continue to relish it.
Yeah.
But don't just sit on your laurels, right? Like,
yeah.
Because you got it up on your wall and you can look at it and be like, yeah, really, that was a great memory. And we're proud that we did that. That's awesome. But don't let that take away from your new goals, because that's what's going to produce more dopamine. That's what's going to keep you motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So jumping into oxytocin.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it a little bit. How are you? Okay. So I want to make sure I'm saying this properly. First off, am I referring to it? Am I saying you're releasing it? I'm releasing dopamine, like ways in which I'm releasing dopamine. I'm releasing oxytocin, because it's a chemical that's being produced in your body, but you have to find a way to release it. Is that?
Yeah. So there's production and release, or production and consumption.
Production and consumption.
It's a neurotransmitter. And so if you have oxytocin in your system, if you have dopamine in your system, as that neurotransmitter is released and then taken up by the neurons, it makes you feel a certain way. Right?
Okay. So you're releasing it in your system, and then your neurons are absorbing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the reward.
Yeah. And so I think usually it's dumbed down in books, right? Where there's a lot more going on than what they talk about. But I believe that, again, dopamine, the release of dopamine has two things that it does for you. It creates a sense of reward and a sense of anticipation. But if you have no dopamine, you get neither of those, right? You get no anticipation, no reward. So the reward is the feeling of accomplishment, and the sense of anticipation is there's going to be a reward, right? Those are the feelings that we want.
Yeah.
But we have to produce it, and then we have to release and consume it.
Okay.
And so, again, pointing your ship in the right direction is how we get our bodies to produce it. We've got to produce it, or else we don't have any, and we don't get any of the rewards. We don't get any of the motivation.
Yeah.
Oxytocin, the feeling of consuming oxytocin or uptaking it through neurons, is feeling of love, well-being, belonging to a community, that sort of thing, right? And so the way they describe it in this podcast, again, I love this, is the way that people used to back 100 years ago interact with their neurotransmitters is throughout the day they'd be like, say, hunters and gatherers. They'd be out hunting all day, working hard, tracking, killing the animal, field dressing it, like all this hard work, right? So they're producing dopamine all through the day, and they're getting little hits of dopamine to keep them moving. And then when they come home, then the work is done. And now the dopamine cycle kind of takes a backseat to the oxytocin cycle. And that is where we're around our friends, we're around our family, we're in a community, and we start to produce more oxytocin, and it makes us feel like we belong, and we're happy and content and grateful and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
The other two that they talk about are endorphins and serotonin, but I think that the oxytocin and dopamine are the main ones that we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
So to put that in perspective, as far as how it could relate to jiu-jitsu, I love open mat, right? We come to open mat, we work for 2 hours, little 5-minute rolls. We're tired. We've been working our butts off. We've been producing tons of dopamine. We've been consuming it here and there, motivated. Now we all sit around in a circle and just chat.
Yeah.
And now we're just like dumping oxytocin in our systems, and we're feeling great.
Yeah.
And that's super healthy. That's what you want in your life. That is how you're going to have joy in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. It makes me think about like all of the particles in your body and in the air and what's happening and all this invisible energy, in the space. And it's cool. It's cool to visualize that.
Yeah.
You're working hard, and then that oxytocin is just flourishing within you and around you.
Yeah.
In different bodies as we all sit and enjoy, our rounds and our struggles together and just chat. And it's one of the coolest things about jiu-jitsu is the community, and the fact that we wear these gis and we just sweat a bunch, and we're trying to, essentially learn how to fight.
Yeah.
We're learning how to compete and be combative, but in a healthy way. And then just sharing all of that with each other is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really does fly in the face of the modern culture, which is just a very digital culture.
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu community is a very physical community. It's a very intimate community. And you could say it's gay, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. It is a very intimate and physical community, and we are getting FaceTime. Sometimes our faces rubbing against each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like there's no other, other martial arts, sure, but that's not something that's typical in our community right now. Everybody's getting very disconnected. They're just sitting on their phones and thinking that social media is connecting them, and it's not. It's not connecting them. In fact, it's depleting all their dopamine, and then they're depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. And it's important to educate people. Obviously I'm an academy owner and I want people to show up, but this is my passion as well. If I didn't own the academy, I'd still be going to someone's academy and doing jiu-jitsu and talking with people and being a part of that community. And it's so vital and valuable to my life. And I want, everyone else to feel that same thing. Yeah, we are super disconnected in this digital world. And I think that's why more things like jiu-jitsu and any community events or community activities are so valuable, and it's hard because you want people to recognize that value. You want them to think like, that's the last thing I'll give up.
Right.
You know, those things. But unfortunately, yeah, it's a digitally dominated world. So you're just kind of thinking, when your lifestyle is so incorporated into that digital world, it seems like everything else has to go first.
Yeah.
When you're budgeting and you're figuring out your timing, your schedule, your routine. So many people are like leaving out that community aspect, that connection, that physical connection. And
it's actually one of the best things you can do for your mental health and your physical health is to be part of a community. There have been studies where they'll look at small towns where the lifespans are really, really long. And then they'll look at the diet and like, why do people live so long? And it turns out that the only thing that they could find is that while people may eat fairly well, but no better or worse than some other communities, they have a very strong sense of community and connection. And so that connection with people, that intimacy makes you physically healthier, mentally healthier, and your life expectancy goes up significantly. It's not an insignificant amount. I mean, you know, these small communities, a lot of times they may have a lot of centenarians where they live 100 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people live in 100 years these days.
Do you think it's important for us to, you know, like prioritize our friendships and our community over just our more intimate relationships? Not over, but in addition to, because I feel like, of course, I get a dopamine hit, an oxytocin hit when I get quality time with Ruby. Like that's a necessity. I feel it. But then, yeah, but I'm also getting to feed that social side of me every single day when I come into Jiu Jitsu. But I know a lot of people where they go to work and then they go home, and of course they're with their significant other, their best friend, or something, and that's important. But is that enough? Is it enough, or do we as a species need to be surrounded by more people on a regular basis?
Oh man!
And maybe you don't know the answer, but like what, you know?
Well, I mean, my gut tells me that person in your life, that special person, should be your absolute top priority.
Yeah.
Like, so if you have to choose between spending time with your buddies and spending your, like the whole bros before hoes, I think that's crap. I think that's the exact opposite. I think that you should put your significant other absolutely at the top.
Yeah.
That's the person that's your crown jewel in your life.
I agree.
I think that you don't have to choose 99% of the time. I think that you just have to get rid of a bunch of other BS that is taking away. So if it's, I'm going to play Xbox a whole bunch, spend time with my significant other, and then I'm not going to do jiu-jitsu, get rid of the Xbox. Just get rid of it. Like, you don't need that. That's crap. It's not good for you, and it's just depleting your dopamine, and then it leaves you feeling like crap after you spent 4 hours playing a stupid game that did nothing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, really did nothing in the real world.
Yeah.
Unless you're a paid gamer.
Yeah.
You know, if you're paying
and from
the bills,
what I understand, a lot of those guys and girls that are paid gamers, by the time they get to the point where they're making money playing games, they don't even enjoy it anymore. They hate it.
Yeah. I mean, just super depressed.
Yeah, they're just like, this is not fun. But
it's got to be rough, man. I mean, just being glued to the screens, even just working on the computer all day when I'm, doing administrative tasks. Like by the end of the day, I feel like I'm fried. Yeah. I'm like craving sunlight in my eyes and like fresh air. It's insane. And people do that every single day. They're in offices, whatnot. Yeah. I mean, to your point about your number one priority, I have this thought, when I'm thinking about that and just how important Ruby and that relationship is, the person that you expect to be with for the rest of your life. I think if you were stranded on a desert island and, even if you had water and food or whatnot, but if you were all alone, what would you crave more than anything? Let's say you're alone for 100 days or more. What would you crave more than anything in the world?
Human connection, for sure.
Human connection, yeah. And more specifically, I think about, oh man, like if I was just alone for that long, my number one priority would be like, God, I want to be held by Ruby. I just want to be close. Like I would just be visualizing that so much. And yeah, it puts into perspective how important those relationships are to you if you do have a significant other.
Yeah.
and for some people it could be, their child or their grandparent or something, but it helps to frame it that way because it makes you think about what is your priority.
Yeah.
Is work your priority? Is gaming, is even Jiu Jitsu your priority? Because if you're all alone, like what's the one thing you would want more than anything? And most of us would say a connection of some sort, either be with my family or be with this person. And that's powerful. It shows the power of connection. Nobody would want to be working on their computer, building their business. That's the last thing they would think about. They'd be like, exactly. God, I just want to be close to my family, my loved ones. I just want to hold them. I want to be with them.
Yeah.
So,
well, and again, both are important. Yes. I mean, so when you are doing the work, if you're doing something challenging, yes, you're creating dopamine and you're consuming it in little hits, but then you go home and you're with your family and you get the oxytocin. Now, one of the questions that was asked is there ever a time where you produce both dopamine and oxytocin? Absolutely. They said, well, let's say you're having sex with somebody that you deeply love. You're going to be producing enormous amounts of both dopamine and oxytocin. It's both very pleasurable, but also very intimate, and you're developing that. Or watching your child graduate from high school, right? It's both oxytocin and dopamine. There's pleasure and sense of well-being, right? But generally, it's going to be more one than the other.
Yeah.
If you're sitting around in a group and you're enjoying each other's company and somebody tells a really, really funny joke, you get a little dopamine hit from that. Yeah. But generally, it's primarily an oxytocin pathway. That's what's happening mostly.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy how, when I was learning a little bit about dopamine, it's just like how even if your phone vibrates, you get like a little dopamine hit or something. You're like, whoa. I gotta.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this?
Well, you consume some dopamine, right? You get that anticipation feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you take the phone out of your pocket and you open it, then you get the reward.
Yeah.
Right. To see if there's a little red, number on your text messages or somebody messaged you through Facebook or something, like you get that little reward. But again, you didn't produce any.
Yeah.
So if you keep doing that over and over, then you're just draining. You just run it dry.
Yeah.
Not good. Run the tank dry.
Yeah. It's cool to think that you can utilize your dopamine to and the motivation of the community and the people that you love or you want to or you value or you want to be around. I mean, that can be motivation for you to utilize your dopamine.
Yeah.
Like pairing just the concepts of how much you appreciate the ability to work. Yeah, of course, like if you were stranded and you just got to be with your family, well, then you get to be with your family and then you realize, well, I can't just like be with my family. I have to do something. I have to work for them. I have to, provide or whatever it is.
It's a holistic system. I mean, human beings have evolved to need more than just one thing. We sit around, like at work, you might be thinking, man, I can't wait to get home and be with my family. And that's healthy to want that. But it's also healthy to be at work and do that work and produce dopamine and then go home and get your oxytocin. And, so, and there's so many neurotransmitters. It's not just that. There's, serotonin and what were the other ones that they talked about? Anyway, well, serotonin's a big one. Yeah. And if you lack serotonin, you'll get really depressed, right? So they've got like SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which keeps more serotonin in your system and you don't consume it as fast. But I think the biggest problems people get into are this dopamine cycle right now, because it's so easy to grab your phone or get on Netflix or do some gaming or eat a sugary meal or something. It's so easy to find pleasure. We are drowning in pleasure.
Yeah.
And so we
got to make dopamine hard again, man.
Yeah. Make dopamine again. We're not making any. We're just consuming it all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Make dopamine again.
Yeah. So yeah, when you're working us super hard in here and we're like dying during the warm up, you're like, hey guys, we're just producing dopamine here.
Yeah.
We're not consuming it yet. We'll consume that later, but right now we're producing it. So just helping you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Well, yeah, I feel like we should give the listeners a little go-to, action or just action item, for what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And for me, I would say, get off your phone, get outside and do a workout outside. And if you're not going to do that, come to Jiu Jitsu. Come to Jiu Jitsu, be with the people that appreciate you. Just having you here is amazing. And yeah, sweat, work hard with us, get better at something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, life is short. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's so many things we can do. And sometimes we wonder if jiu-jitsu is even a priority or whatever it is we're doing. Going to the gym, is it even a priority? Is it really important? What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? One day you're going to die. And yeah, like some of us are, nihilistic and can think like, it doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be cool to have a black belt, during your lifetime? Like, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can say this, it's the journey that matters. Life's a journey.
Yeah.
And if you want to enjoy the journey, you have to understand how your body works and make it the best journey you possibly can. Right.
Dude,
the worst thing you could do is live your whole life and at the end of the day just say, I spent the whole time thinking life didn't matter and now I don't have any life left to live. That'd be terrible.
Yeah. I love that. Understanding how your body works,
as much as we can. Yeah. And leverage it. I mean, we are intelligent enough to understand some of these mechanisms and leverage that to make our lives higher quality.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely. And all of us have different issues and different things and different reasons that we can be held back. But there's people that do it with way less. When I was in England, I was trying to train with this guy Mark Armrod or Mark. He's a friend of Chunk's, but
okay,
he's missing both his legs, and I believe one of his arms as well. But he does jiu-jitsu. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's not using that as an excuse. To, understand what he can still do with his body.
He's going to use what he's got.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of us are, struggling and we have totally different situations that are holding us back and that's okay. Like, I think we should just think about ways in which we can optimize what we have now, how we can leverage that to live the best life that we can possibly live. Cause it is going to be short and it's fast. And
well, I mean, life is hard enough. We don't need to fight against ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are doing all the things that are going to make you depressed and sad and filled with anxiety, then, and then life hits you, things that are outside of your control, then you don't have a fighting chance at all. Right. Yeah. So if life is going to hit you with stuff that sucks, because that's just the way life is, right? It's going to be filled with goodness and it's going to be filled with pain. But if you can give yourself the best chance to enjoy life as much as possible through your habits, then why wouldn't you do that? It's like, you don't ride a bike with your brakes half engaged and just fight against the brakes unless you're really dumb, right? But that's what we're doing in our lives, analogously. We're doing all these things where it's like engaging our brakes and we can't just go fast, and enjoy our lives.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the two things that they said, they actually gave advice that was, spend less time on your phone. Obviously, that's fairly obvious, right? Don't be on your phone.
Unless you're listening to the podcast, which you're just listening.
Yeah, but you're not staring at a screen necessarily. That's okay.
Yeah.
So spend less time on your phone. And I love the don't take your phone in the bathroom. Yeah. When you go in the bathroom, just go in there and poop. Or take a shower, but don't take your phone with you.
And go when you gotta go.
Yeah.
Don't do the whole like, I think I gotta poop right now.
Yeah.
Just go when you gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other one, and this is, I didn't really mention it, but a lot of your neurotransmitters are actually produced in the gut. So eating well and doing things like kimchi, yogurt, sauerkraut to try to produce good gut flora, good gut health is actually more important than you realize. So regularly ingest probiotics.
Yeah.
And a little phone.
Totally. A little bit every day is better than a lot on one day.
Right. Yeah. Just a little something.
Yeah.
Totally good idea.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Temp Ty, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Let's go.
Welcome to the ALLGROUND Pod.